Hello and welcome to a very special edition of the Western Bulldogs podcast, Barclay Street, episode 15. We're already there, folks. Episode 15, brought to you by our very good friends Mercedes-Benz Vans, and sitting not alongside me, but certainly spiritually on the side street of Barclay Street is the skipper himself, the all-conquering skipper at the moment, Marcus Bontempelli. Marcus, we'll start off with how are you, and then we'll end up with where are you?
Yes, it's the hub edition of Barclay Street, mate. Going well. Obviously, well sort of reported and documented that we all made the move out of Victoria a few days ago, off the back of some obviously decisions from a border restriction point of view in other states. So it was a pretty swift up and move after the game on the weekend, which we can get to in a second and unpack. But as we do, and the key word of the times now being agile, we've been agile and we've all up and moved on.
Pivoted?
And we've pivoted. We've been agile. We've twisted. We've turned, mate. We're just going with the times. So amazing effort by the football club and the AFL. Get everyone up and move, but clearly some pretty testing times, and we really are feeling for everyone back in Victoria. Clearly, we're obviously grateful to be continuing the season, but not being back home with our people and in our homeland and heartland is tough, and I know it's tough for everyone back in Victoria. So we're really thinking of everyone during this time.
We'll get to the game in a minute because the footy team's playing some goddamn exciting football at the moment. So we're going to spend a fair bit of time on that, and we've got one of your teammates who's going to join us in a little while. But let's stick with the news, that's evolving by the sort of day and the hour with the hub. So the game finishes. How long after that are you kind of going into this frantic mode of packing your life up and hitting the skies?
Yeah, well, we knew going in that the news was going to probably come down the pipeline at some point, that we were going to have to up and go. It was pretty much a lock, I think, before the game, which presented another sort of challenge in a way leading up to the game, not thinking or scanning too far ahead to, I've got to start packing. And Bevo was pretty good at sort of saying, we've still got a game to play clearly. We'll cope with what we need to after the game, but let's still keep our minds on the game, on the challenge ahead, and then we'll look at packing our bags on the Sunday. So that was pretty much it. We virtually then found out pretty much, I think, after the game, virtually what would be happening, and then in the next sort of 12 hours is when all the news sort of came through about when we'd be going, where we'd be going, clearly, what it was going to look like, and you just sort of had to really think on the spot. So Sunday was, last chance to see some family and whatnot, and then really just pack your bag and anticipate the move. So pretty challenging. I'm pretty fortunate, sort of only have to sort of pack for myself, but clearly there's a number of players up here who have little ones, fresh babies, like small families from a player's perspective that had to organise and do a lot more than I did. So they've done an incredible job, I think, to get themselves up here. And it's just, there's a great feel around the hub with having, everyone's players' families here that could come along. And it's really got this, not holiday sort of vibe, but it's good to have families nice and close with us in this time.
So I've been on a few interstate trips, quite a few of them with you. Is it the same kind of routine as that, or are the restrictions sort of temper that a bit? Are you all sort of in your rooms locked away, or are you hanging out playing table tennis? Are you having a swim? What's going on?
Yeah, not quite. So essentially what we're basically allowed to do is we're allowed to roam within the confines of the resort, essentially. So there's basically boundary points that we're not allowed past. So that being probably the front road at basically where you come in. And there's virtually a path that goes all the way around essentially the hotels, which sits inside the golf courses. So that's basically all we're allowed to do is roam within the insides of the resort, obviously excluding the golf course for the next sort of 2 weeks. So there's a few pools here that basically, players can use and families can use for the little ones. There's a few other things like, table tennis and whatnot set up around sort of meal rooms and team rooms, a few little games and stuff like that, just to basically kill time during the afternoons and especially the days off when you've got spare time. And obviously you've got your room. It seems like everyone's got their own room, which is good, but you can go into other players' rooms and staff's room as long as you're adhering to sort of the social distancing inside the square metre rule. So there's still a bit of limitation around that, but we're only in the first couple of days of this quarantine period. So all's pretty, going okay at the minute. It's once we hit a week or 10 days that then we start to see some teething issues maybe. But so far, I think everyone's done a pretty good job just to understand, we're pretty fortunate to be up here and still doing what we're doing. And we're pretty grateful for that, mate.
Let's talk about it in a football sense, because we know that that people are really doing it tough, and there's vulnerable people in our community who are being really pushed to the limits at the moment. So we want to acknowledge that, but also the conversation we're going to have is around this, sport being the dessert trolley of life. Let's kind of look at it through that lens. But are you kind of at this point? What is it? Mid-July? No, it's early, 8th of July. Are you almost in a isolation fitness phase? Like you've sort of practiced these sort of unusual scenarios. You've gone through a few of them now. Do you feel sort of like with all the pivoting and with all the agility, you can kind of handle whatever's sort of thrown at you from now?
Yeah, probably a little bit, mate, when you consider obviously the season going into a hiatus period and what we had to process from that point on. And like you're constantly throwing those words of flexibility, agility, and they're not dissimilar, but they're not too abnormal sort of football words. Like that's terminology we use on a probably daily basis, to be honest, within football clubs, but you don't expect it to be obviously at this level or extent. So you've sort of been forced. The thing that we've probably been most talkative about is just being open to embrace the changes as much as anything, because I think when you meet resistance, that's when your stress probably levels go up. There's things that start to impact not just your on field but your off field, and there is so much for everyone to be dealing with, probably sometimes on a daily basis, but just trying to keep everyone, still trying to find the sources of enjoyment and obviously loving and being grateful for what we do is so important, and understanding that we're so, like I mentioned, we're so fortunate to still be continuing the season under different circumstances, but really acknowledging that other people are doing it so much tougher than we are, and trying to be always cognizant of that fact, because there are so many people, particularly now back in Victoria, that are in way more difficult positions. And that's why I did a message yesterday to all our sort of football clan just on social media. And I felt a little bit uncomfortable about saying, because we're not there, it's hard to obviously send a message by saying, we're really feeling for you, because I didn't want it to come across like, because we're not there, we're not actually going through the same circumstances. But we did feel as a football club it was really important to recognise that we know how much people are doing it tough. So I hope the message came across sincere, because it was. But we are really, really thinking of everyone back home pretty much every day as we see things and how they unfold.
I think it came across really well, mate, because inherently you are sincere, so that'll always hold you in good stead. So, people are doing it tough down here. And yesterday there was it was a pretty heavy vibe in Melbourne. A lot of families and the vulnerable who we've talked about, but home remote learning's back on the cards, and I know that sent a few shockwaves through our house, and we're really fortunate, we're really lucky. So just want to really emphasise that point to anyone listening, that we are thinking of all, and especially our Bulldogs.
We do wear the ability to play like a bit of a badge of honour, to be honest, that we can provide at least on a basis for people at home, and for families and kids alike who hopefully look forward to watching the games of the weekend. So we don't take that lightly either, that we're able to provide some sort of normality amidst it all, that we can still do what we love, but hopefully it brings some joy to many people's sort of weekends and their time during this period. So that's it's an important one for us to be able to try our best to keep it going.
I might get a few more details around the hub life when our guest joins us. But let's talk about the game quickly from the weekend, because it loomed, I reckon, a few Bulldog supporters, and put myself in that category. It loomed as a bit of a North Melbourne are a little bit of an unknown quantity. Their goods been really good. They've sort of been a bit up and down. It was a mighty performance, mate. You must have been incredibly proud of the boys.
Yeah, I was, because clearly we'd had a solid 2 weeks in a row, and we're building some quality form and momentum. But clearly, being a young team, in the past history suggests that there can be a little bit of a drop off, or particularly against North. We've had some really good games against North where we've really basically gone toe to toe right to the end of the game. So I think our mindset was always just to expect their best, basically, and we know what sort of combative inside physical team they can be too. So we sort of really, when you think about it, the 3 games that we've played now have all had a level of that. Like the GWS game was obviously up at probably number 1 in terms of podium with the physical side of the contest and the game, and we're able to sort of stand up to that challenge. Then you come up against a Sydney team who've notoriously always been a strong inside team with a strong physical presence, and then North are not too dissimilar with their bash and crash style around the ball, and then clearly they've got some talent up forward. So felt like we were pretty well prepared for that sort of challenge, and as we continue to grow and build each week, we're starting to see obviously some consistency come out, and the challenge is now just to continue it. So some really good signs. We've seen some great growth from some young players, but especially our new sort of older mature players like Joshy Bruce and Alex Keith, who are really starting to obviously cement their spots, but have those games where they're really standing up for us. So some encouraging signs, mate.
I reckon I could speak on behalf of a number of Bulldog supporters that in the off season, I reckon 3 of the major things that would have been on the minds of Bulldog supporters would have been what can Josh Bruce offer us as a strong key forward? What can Alex Keith do to shore up our defence as a key defender, and can Timmy English blossom in the position as ruck? And over the last fortnight, we've just seen sort of the best version of that. That must give you an enormous boost to the self belief.
Yeah, big time. It does. And Keithy's been pretty much from day dot having a pretty sort of strong influence, but that back line is starting to look once again like probably our most damaging line when you consider the quality of players back there and the consistency and the ability for each of them to have their strengths and how that complements each other. And we can score a fair bit off the back of, JJ running, Caleb sort of slicing teams up, and Hayden Crozier as well with his sort of marking and aerial presence. And then you've got Bailey Williams, who's taken massive strides. He's, I think, quickly becoming one of the most sort of improved players, definitely in our team, but across the league too, with his maturity back there. And then you've got some of the stronger ones down deeper. And Brucey, I think, has been pretty. His work rate and effort to help support and be a presence down there has been there every week. Clearly, he just hasn't had a game where he's kicked a bag or anything like that, but we've still been getting plenty of value out of what he's doing. And sure enough, I think you get the opportunity, and he puts himself in great spots. His hands were working, and he kicked 6 straight for us. So you love that obviously for us, but you love it for him too personally to get some of the rewards for his hard work. So good signs for sure.
Got to be a good player to kick 6 in a game. Have you ever kicked 6?
Not 6, not yet, mate. Have you?
It's not about. I'm just the host, mate. I asked the question for what it's worth. Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
Half
a does. Half a does. Not bad. What year was it? What year?
It was black and white TV.
And who? Who was it against?
It's not important. Essendon.
Oh, if you're gonna brag, there we go.
Oh, we'll overlay some. We'll overlay some footage.
Okay,
We
right.
can
Next
do all
question.
sorts.
Next
All,
question.
we can do all sorts of camera tricks to this.
I've got time. I've got time. Mind you, man. I've got time.
You've got time. I don't, mate. I'm on the shovel. I'm on the shovel in the backyard. I don't have as much time to do. Hey, let's have a short break because I want to save a bit more of these questions. I want to get a sense of the vibe that you guys are sort of living up there in the hub with the families and the footy department and your teammates. So we'll get, I believe, is it Caleb? Is it Caleb joining us?
It's Caleb, the man. Yes.
Caleb is the man. All right, can't wait to chat to him and explore a few of those topics with the little master. All right, talk to you soon. Welcome back to the Western Bulldogs podcast, Barclay Street, of course. Say it again, Marcus. We just can't say it enough. Our friends, Mercedes-Benz Vans. What an organisation. Vehicles, the kings of the vehicle. The vehicle.
I've got the keys to life.
The keys to life. Well, I thought I was taking it too far, but you really just hop, skip, and a jump over that line. That's enough crapping on from you and I. It's our pleasure to invite one of our guys. He's one of Barclay Street's very own. He's certainly one of the Western Bulldogs' very own. Just like a magician from halfback, just weaving virtual reality, bamboozling opposition teams, slicing and dicing, carving. It's more like a butcher in the best possible sense.
Yeah.
Caleb Daniel. Caleb, welcome to the podcast, man. How are you doing?
I'm going well. I'm feeling a lot better about myself after that sort of wrap up.
Hey, that's the trick. We build you up
hearing things like that. Yeah, and then it might just get cut down. But I'm feeling pretty good now.
So I asked Bont before, like, where are you? Like, Marcus is in room whatever. How close are you to Marcus? Where are you?
You actually wouldn't believe it, but if I walked outside of my door, I'm probably walking into Bonte's room. So he can probably hear me through these walls right now. So
are you
pretty
each other?
I can hear you. Yeah, we are. I can hear you now. I heard you last night. I heard you all the time, mate. Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I got to be careful about what you. Got to be careful about what you're hearing next to the skipper as well. So I'll make sure to keep it down.
Yeah, right. How have you found the last couple of days, mate? Bit of a whirlwind. Have a win against the Kangaroos, and you sort of whipped up in a frenzy on a plane, pack your life up, say goodbye to everyone. How's it all going for you?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a sort of obviously unique situation, but I think the guys have attacked it really well, and I feel pretty good about the sort of space that we're in as a team, and everyone loves each other up here, which is great. So, and have the families all up here is really good as well. So a little bit of a whirlwind. I think I'll struggle a couple of weeks without my dog, but we'll see after that.
Oh yeah, what happens with the pooch? What's
Who's looking after Hugo, isn't it?
Yeah, no, we're pretty lucky. I got a couple of housemates who are still back home, so they'll look after him pretty well, which is good. You can always rely on them, so pretty happy. But if I come back and he's a little bit heavier, I'll know who to blame.
What about Maya? I haven't asked you about Maya. What's she gonna do?
Yeah. Nah, she's gone back with mum and dad. So it is okay because when I first got her, I was back living with the folks anyway. So she will know some familiar faces, which is great. I am a little bit worried because I was being pretty good with her, making sure plenty of obedience. I'm worried that they'll come in and just play the grandparents role and just absolutely mess her up. I'm a tiny bit worried. Yeah, I don't want her to get too spoiled. But she's got plenty of space. Yeah, she's got plenty of space back there to run around, which is great for her. But she's only young, so I'm worried back, and then all of a sudden so much bigger, and then forgets me. So hopefully I've done enough to make a good impression on her.
So Caleb, you said you all love each other. It is only the early stages of the hub, so. We'll check in with you again in a few weeks' time to see if it's all happy families up there. But speaking about families, can you give us a little bit of an update on the boys up there who've got partners and kids and wives and all that sort of thing going on?
Yeah, so obviously there's sort of newly born Mitchie Wallace and Em, his wife. They brought their young girl up, so that's really nice. I think she's only a couple of weeks old, which is it's pretty cute having a really fresh bub rolling around, and obviously Woody and Tiff, they've brought their girl up as well, so that's obviously really nice as well. And I'm actually a little bit nervous around children because they don't really give you too much unless you're acting like a bit of a fool, which I really struggle with. So I battle a little bit. I just got to goo goo gaga and
just go the classic. Go the classic.
That's it.
Well, that's it.
I've got
a nephew now, so I've learned a couple of tricks, but I still battle a little bit. But yeah, there's a few boys. Obviously Jackson Trengrove and his 3 kids are up here, and they're a lot of energy and roll around, and they're good fun to watch and stuff like that. And
that's a busy apartment. They've got 2 rooms, busy. But it is chaos.
Are they kind of? Is there quarantine within the quarantine of like kids on one level, one side?
I think it is. Yeah.
I think Jackson's about 4 k's down the road from everyone else. He has to catch he actually catches a golf cart in. I think he's got this personalised golf cart. So but that's really good. And Tommy Libb and his partner are up here as well, which is great. So they're all going well so far. But like you said, it's 2 days in. So check in a few weeks, and we'll be able to answer that a little bit more clearly.
Yeah, right. So I must admit, so there's been a lot of strange stuff this year, and you guys have been following the footy news, and a lot of it's been interesting. Some of it, not so interesting. And my personal favourite of the thing that I just don't care about, 2 teams flying on the same plane, and how? But here I are. How's the flight?
It was hectic, actually.
Was there a brawl? Was there like?
Yeah, everyone was throwing hands.
Adults just sitting there.
Correct.
Everyone throwing hands, and it was all in war on that plane. No, not quite.
So you're trying to tell me that so both teams weren't sat there singing their theme songs to see who could sing louder than the other?
Yeah.
You
actually wouldn't believe it.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy.
There wasn't a tug of war down the middle of the seats, like to see who was superior.
I just tried to sneak over to the other side to rip the door open, the emergency exit, to let them all fly out.
Smart.
But no, it was very cruisy. It was a good plane trip, but like I said, there was plenty of kids on there, so up and about and moving, and
we had a lot more kids, I reckon, on our side than they did. So they might have been a little bit begrudging, but there's plenty of noise coming from our side of the plane.
Yeah. So the Blues this Sunday, is that what with all the last couple of days, I've kind of lost a little bit of focus on the fixture. I'm sure you guys are all across it, and they. So they're in the same hotel. Is that what's going on?
That is, yep, that's correct.
So is the king of the hotel? Yeah. Is that what's up? Is that what's up for grabs? Is this the unofficial to go along with the Jimmy Plunkett Cup? But it's really the king of the king of the Mercure Hotel. Is that what's going on?
Big carrot,
yeah, massive carrot. I think whoever wins gets the pool area to themselves. So
it's like first dibs. It should be first dibs on, coffee. Yeah. Because we're here with North. Boys. We're here with North as well, and obviously we've just played them, so we've we've won that little power sort of struggle as we've rolled sort of straight in, and now we go straight into our next opponent. So it is interesting. Obviously, you don't see other players as much as this, but we are in sort of our own spaces. So the only times you really cross paths are probably meal times, and that's about it. So
what happens there? What happens at meal time?
No, we've got our own separate rooms. like team rooms. So they're upstairs. I think Carlton, we're downstairs. I'm not sure where the north. They might be on the other side of the Mercure. So you cross paths every now and again, but it's not like everywhere you go you're running. Oh, you probably are around sort of meal times and when you're meetings and stuff like that. But once again, like I said, to continue the good vibes, I think a win this weekend is bloody important.
You do when you sort of cross through the hallways or the function rooms with opposition players. What's your kind of greeting of choice? Do you go the nickname or the eyebrow? Do you go the Or do you go the elbow with a little bit of a giggle?
I'm more the eyebrow raise.
Yeah.
Yeah. G'day.
Oh dear.
Yeah. The coffee lineup's funny because there's only one barista and machine, so they've got right, and you all just basically line up for a coffee, and you're sort of all congregated in the one area, just like, hey, how's everything going? And everyone's got the same answers, like, what have you been up to today? Not much. You?
Bugger all.
Yeah. Same as yesterday.
It used to be. Oh, where's the footy trip going? Now it's like,
yeah.
Hey, can I ask you about a couple of your teammates? It was especially for you, CD, because we get to talk to Bont all the time. He's been down Media Street for quite a while now, so I want to focus on you today. A couple of your fellow defenders. Was it nice to have you back down there? He played a pretty good game the other night.
Yeah, it was very handy. It's obviously great to have Easton back there, not just from like a leadership sort of point of view, but the way that he was like launching at the footy and 1.5 sort of defending against a pretty good forward line was pretty special, and taking those intercept marks. I think he took 6 or 7 on the day, and really helped us rebound the footy. That was great, and having him back there, like I said, for the leadership sort of stuff is just another string to his bow.
It was only 6 intercept marks. I wouldn't want Woody because he will listen to this. I
4 or 5 then maybe.
Yeah.
He sat on my head like at one point. Lucky he dropped the mark. Otherwise, it was a poster sort of opportunity. But he's at that point where he's just flying, and it doesn't matter if you're wearing a red, white, and blue jumper or anyone else. You're copping it.
Yeah, I reckon. And as soon as you feel that knee, you're like, that's Woody. You just know that bony knee.
You know.
Yeah,
you know.
bony knee, or just a massive quad just in the back of the head.
I reckon.
You can't escape those.
I reckon he's probably need as many Bulldogs players in the head as anyone in the history of our club.
Agreed.
Easily.
Have to. Yeah.
The golden knee.
Might be an award to come.
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to be without one of your teammates this week, Hayden Crozier, fellow halfback flanker for us, CD, part of the Brotherhood.
Yes,
I know you guys are limited on what you can say, so I'll start. Stiff.
I feel like he got a pretty stiff run at it. Pretty handy tackle is what I thought. I think we got a goal out of it, which helped the boys out. But I think a little bit disappointing, obviously, but he'll wear that and come back bigger and better. And I think it will only be the one that he'll miss. So. That's good.
Well, we've got the depth to cover him, but it's a bit of a bummer to be without him.
Yeah, for sure.
Poor old Jongy's in the wars again. Did he walk under a ladder at some point? Did he smash a mirror? What the hell is going on here with this man's ability to find bad luck?
I'm not too sure. I think, potentially something like that's happened, but he puts himself in those positions. Like the act that he did on the weekend to put himself in that position was ridiculous in the first place, sort of thing. I remember I was under the ball and I already knew that I was going to get sat on by that Taron Thomas. So I was preparing for a knee in the back of the head, but he ran past me. So you down to me, started me for just downstairs before. So that was always good, but
we might actually have to start blocking him out of those scenarios, like when he comes back again, just get in front of him, because he's just so courageous. Like, and he jumps so well at the ball, and he is so strong. But it's that sort of blind courage that like a bit like Pico was. Pico used to always just get himself and put himself in harm's way, when you wouldn't expect him to. I think, in games, there's times where you've got to go back or sit under one, but for some blokes, they just find a way to get in there more than others, and it is such a shame for Jongy, because he has missed a fair bit of footy, and he's such a talented player and athlete. But yeah, he knows, I think, how to deal with the process. But yeah, it's a shame we can't have him out there again for longer periods.
Yeah.
What about you, CD? You've found a pretty good rhythm again this year, mate. You weaving your magic there from the halfback flank brings a tear to an old flanker's eye, mate. Love seeing you down there. You enjoying it?
Yeah, I'm loving the role down there. It's been really good, and I think having Alex Keith and the boys in such good form has really helped out this year, I suppose. We're playing a really good system sort of defense, and the sort of pressure from up the field, from the midfielders and the forwards is allowing our defenders' job to be a fair bit easier and come off and read the play a little bit more, rather than it coming through and being susceptible to those one-on-ones or different things like that. So we're all working really well together, and hopefully we can keep using the footy really well and put teams to the sword, I guess.
Yeah. We were talking a tiny bit before, quickly, just about Bailey Williams, how much he's sort of grown, particularly on the field, but with his sort of defence and whatnot. I'm probably seeing it a bit more, but you're obviously close to him. How have you found seeing his sort of progression up close and what he's been able to do on the field?
Yeah, it's great. It's awesome. I think, I live with Bailey, so I see what he does outside of the club and the effort that he puts in and different things like that. So it's been really good to see him get a consistent run at the game and play that sort of younger Easton Wood sort of type, coming off and intercepting, and he's got a great kick, and he's a lovely ball user. So that's been great. See him come along, and he's really vocal out there at the moment, which is definitely helping us as a back line, as well as himself come out of his shell a little bit. So like I said, that's great, and being able to see the stuff that he does outside of the game, how he eats, how he prepares himself is really good. So yeah, I'm loving seeing a fellow housemate playing some really good footy, and yeah, he's doing really well this year, and we always knew that he was going to be a really good player. It was just sort of getting that consistency and yeah, probably tidying up a little bit defensively, and he's definitely done that this year.
Yeah, bloody working.
Boys, it's great to see your faces. Great to see smiles on your faces. Sounds like things are going pretty well up there. They're certainly going well on the field. From all the Bulldog supporters, we just want to wish you all the best. Keep it going, and give us something to cheer about, because it's she's pretty grim out there at the moment. So thank you for your efforts. CD, keep flying the flag down there for the halfback flankers, where the game, as we all know, where the game is won and lost. Marcus,
absolutely.
Keep telling yourself that, mate. You keep telling yourself that. Whatever helps you sleep at night, champ.
Oh, champ! What a way to finish the podcast on it. I can't think of a better way to finish a podcast than getting champed.
Now you won't sleep at night.
That's it.
Sure.
I was going to say, I know you guys are busy, got stuff to do today. I can't really say that. I've got stuff to do. I've got plenty to do. You guys have got stuff all to do. CD, make sure you turn the volume down if you with the movie, whatever movie you select, because your skippers next year, can travel through the room.
Yeah.
We'll catch up with you soon. Look after yourselves.
You too. Enjoy.
You too. Bye-bye.
Good luck on Sunday. Give them hell.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, mate. Take care.
Hooroo, lads.